Hi friends, I'm Walker and welcome back to All About Nails, where we talk about vegan and cruelty-free nail polish. Today I'm going to be sharing a really exciting brand new indie brand. This is Pep Nail Vibes, and this brand is actually run by the same maker who does Society Wit polishes, and I love Society Wit. It's all of these really nice classic creams. I've talked about them several times on my channel, and this brand is by Meredith, who also runs that brand. She kind of wanted to have another aesthetic and try some Crellies and some more glittery polishes, and so she created a new brand, a new line. The whole kind of concept behind this is that these will be small batch indie polishes at a reasonable price. So she's selling these for $8, which I think for Crellies kind of in the indie space is really reasonable. I feel like they usually run more like $10, $12 from some of the other bigger brands, and they're really fun because she has like a whole variety. You can tell that she's just experimenting and figuring out what she likes, which is really, really fun. For those of you that don't know, a Crelli is kind of between a cream and a jelly. It's a little bit of a more translucent base, usually so that they can carry some sort of glitter or other kind of flakies, and it allows you to see that glitter better than if you put it in kind of a more opaque cream base. So I'm going to use the word Crelli a lot. That's not like an official definition of what a Crelli is, but that's how I would describe it, so I think that's accurate. I had a really fun time kind of experimenting with these, and I'm really excited to show you them. So let's dive into some live swatches of these 4 Crellies. The first polish that I am looking at from Pep Nail Vibes is Neon Party, and this is a white Crelli base with lots of little kind of square and maybe hexes in here in a whole bunch of different colors. There's like yellow and purple and pink and gold, and they're all super bright neon colors, hence the name Neon Party. And I really like that all of the glitters in here are kind of the same size. They're not, you know, like a variety of sizes. It gives it a really nice effect. And the gold ones give it a really nice little shine. I did find that my first coat was pretty sheer. I mean, I think with a lighter based Crelli like this, it is going to be pretty sheer. And I did feel like the glitter distribution was not super dense on my first coat, which actually ended up being okay because I do like how the glitter builds up over multiple coats. I think in my swatch photo you can kind of see a lot of dimension, right? Like some glitters are right at the top and some are a little bit further down. On my second coat, I did get much more opaque, so much closer to opacity, but I did have a bit of nail line, especially on my nails where my kind of visible nail line is a little bit whiter. I did try and do just like a tiny bit of glitter placement here because I had some kind of hanging off the nail. I just tried to push it back on, but really I didn't find that I had to do too much placement. I did find it to be pretty well distributed, and like I said, I really like the effect of kind of how these glitters build up over the 3 coats. They look really, really fun on top of each other. So this one does get totally opaque for me in 3 coats. If you have longer nails, you might decide to go for a 4th, but I thought 3 was plenty. And I am going to turn my lights down a little bit because I think it's a little hard to pick out those glitters. So there we go. Now you can see the glitters, I think, really, really well. And so this is 3 coats of Neon Party. Next up is Pizazz, and Pizazz is, I don't know, really fun. I love that name. In Pizazz, there are these bigger kind of shards of pink glitter and some hot pink hexes as well. And then there's lots of little tiny, I want to say they're almost like coppery glitters because they're kind of like a brassy gold color. And what I really like about this polish is that although the first coat was pretty sheer, I didn't find that I have to do very much kind of fishing around for those bigger pink glitters. I was able to get them out on my brush kind of in the density that I expected to based on what I could see in the bottle. And so on my first coat, you can see that it is pretty sheer, but I am getting a couple of those bigger pink glitters and also a lovely smattering of the smaller kind of coppery gold glitters that are in here. And I just love this glitter combination. You know, I'm not someone who kind of goes for the bigger glitters, but I think because some of these pink ones are matte, they just look really interesting in this polish, and the combination is so fun. On a 3rd coat, I do get that base closer to opacity. It's a little bit of like a blush colored base, and so it is pretty light. But again, in 3 coats, I was able to get it all the way to opacity, and I really like the look of the bigger pink glitters kind of sandwiched between the layers of the jelly base. So I think this one is really lovely, and you're looking at 3 coats of Pizazz. All right, and then I also got to try two colors that have more of a colored base, which I think is so fun. I feel like I usually think of white for curlies, but I'm really excited about this colored one. This is Irish Eyes, and it has this really pretty kind of shamrock grassy green base with tons of gold and silver and maybe copper glitters in here. I would say there's just gold of a bunch of varieties. In my swatch photo, you can see a whole bunch of shades of gold, and I really like how many different sizes and shapes of glitter there are in here. They mix together really, really well. And from my first coat, you can see that base is definitely a bit more opaque than the first two that I tried, but I do still have a bit of visible nail line. I also have a really even coating of glitter, so I feel like this is not sparse. There's no expense spared here. There's kind of a very dense glitter. And on a second coat, I'm getting all the way to opacity. You might decide to go to a third, depending on kind of how you like to wear your curlies, but I was really happy with this in two coats, and I was really surprised with kind of the step up in opacity between one and two coats. The glitter in here, again, is super, super dense and really fun. So you are looking at two coats of Irish Eyes. All right, and I don't always do this, but in this case, I did save my favorite for last. This is Belle, and Belle has this pretty iconic yellow base that reminds me a lot of the dress that Belle wears in Beauty and the Beast, and it has this absolutely gorgeous mix of red and green and blue and gold glitters in here, and there are a couple different sizes of glitters in here, but for the most part they're all pretty small. So there are some, I want to say they're squares that are a little bit bigger, but then there's also this like really lovely dusting of all of the other tiny glitters in here. And so on my first coat, I'm pretty impressed with the coverage of this polish. I would say that it's equal in opacity to the first coat of the green polish that we just looked at, Irish Eyes. I am definitely going to need a second coat, but I'm really impressed with kind of the color that I got in one coat. I also am really pleased with how even the glitter comes out in here. It just spreads really nicely over the nail. It's not, you know, clumping up in one spot or needing any manipulation. It's super easy. On two coats, I am gonna call this opaque. I did, for my swatch photo, need to go in and kind of like touch up some bald spots. So my swatch photo is probably 3 coats, but I was a little bit more careful in applying my swatch. And so this is 2 coats of Belle. Okay, awesome. My favorite of the 4 was Belle. This is such a gorgeous yellow polish, and it has, oh my gosh, just like everything in here, and it's all these really small glitters. I think I'm learning that I don't like huge pieces of glitter. They don't really work for me. I just don't love how they look on my nails. But Belle has all of these really small like circles, really small hexes. There's gold, there's pink, there's green. There's just so much in here, and it all works together so lovely on the nail, and you get this really nice like even smattering of glitter because they're all so small. But this was so lovely and so soft. Awesome. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I really appreciate you taking a couple minutes to hang out with me and chat about nail polish. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what your favorite brand to get curlies from is, because maybe I might be starting to expand my collection here a little bit, and so I would love your recommendations. As always, thanks so much. Oh, this is Inky. Inky says hello and also goodbye.